Hello everyone. So here are a couple of basic tips and tricks for using just some sort of basic keyboard shortcuts, accessing hyperlinks, things like that. Okay, so for example, let's say I'm typing here in a Google Doc. Okay, usually when you have your assignment, it'll usually say your name and the assignment name because usually you get assigned that in Google Classroom. Let's say I want to insert a picture. Okay, let's start with insert a picture. That's the first thing we're going to do together. We're going to go to insert, then we're going to go to image, and you can do two things. You can either upload from your own computer, but most likely you'll want to search the web. Okay? And it can be for something very basic, like a dog. Okay, let's say I have a picture of a dog. Okay, well, I like this one. You can either click on it and then click insert, and it shows up. You can resize it by clicking on it, and you see all these little blue dots around it. You can shrink it. I usually go to the corners so you don't lose the pictures, but if you want to make it longer, like that, things like that. Okay, so if you need to turn it, that'll rotate it as well. But let's say, for example, I'll turn this back. You can also insert it in another way as well. You can also go to insert, image, search the web. You still have the same dog picture. If you just click and drag it, okay, I'm holding onto my cursor there and I'm dragging it, bam, it is going to show up again. So those are two ways to insert the image, right? Now you've inserted your images, which is great and all, but let's say you wanted to insert other things. If you wanted to insert a chart, okay, you can insert a lot of different types of charts. You can make your own pie chart, for example. And then if you click on it and you click edit in sheets right here, you can start editing all the different parts of it, but that's a little bit more advanced. So you probably won't be using a chart. And that's sort of another tool here in the insert tab. Now, if you want to put a link to something, okay, say for example, we're here and we want to link to an article about dogs, right? Let's just say that here we have the new, scroll down to an article here, the rare singing dog species lives on in the wild, right? So you can click the top here with the link, hit Control C. Control C is copy, right? Then you're going to go to your assignment, hit Control V. Okay, so I just demonstrated how to copy a link. You hit CNTRL, that's your control button, and you also hit the C button at the same time. And to paste a link, you hit Control plus V as in Victor. Okay, that's how you can do that. But let's say you want to make a hyperlink. Let's say you wanted to make a link to a Wikipedia article about dogs, right? Click on the dogs in Wikipedia, right? You can click on that link. See how I just clicked on it and it highlighted it, right? You can also just click and drag to highlight. Hit Control C to copy. You can also right click, highlight, right click, and hit copy. See how it has the same codes here? Same thing. You're going to copy it, go back to your assignment, and let's say you wanted to type in article about dogs from Wikipedia. You highlight it, and you can do two things. You can insert a link and hit Control V as in Victor and hit apply. And then if you click on that link, it goes right to your article about dogs. You can also, I'll do a second time, article about dogs from Wikipedia, right? You can also highlight what you want to insert the link for, right click, and see how it says link again? It'll pop up the same way to add that, you hit Control V to paste it, or you can also right click again and hit paste as well. Either way will work. And then now you have a hyperlink to your article. So we've done a couple things here. We have inserted a picture, okay? We have created hyperlinks. That's what these are called, because they send you into the, the internet verse to link to something else. We have demonstrated how to copy and paste a link. Now, let's say you're typing here, typing along, very happy, and then for some reason you undo, right? You're like, uh-oh, where'd my work go? You can hit a couple of things. You can hit this arrow here to hit undo and it comes back. But you can also hit Control Z. So that is for undo, which is Control and the Z key. Hold both of those down and it will happen. Say, for example, I wanted to redo something. If I wanted to go forward, okay, that's Control Y. So let's say, I typed, this hyperlink here, and I hit my undo, I went backwards, and I wanted to redo it. I could either click this arrow, and it appears, or if I wanted to redo it, and I can hit Control Y, it redoes it as well. So redo is Control Y. Okay. So those are some of the common things I usually see students struggling with. If you want to highlight something and change the font, you can go up here to the fonts and it changes. If you want to make it a different type, if you want to make it a title, if you want to make it a heading, different things like that. If you want to bold it, hit the B. If you want to italicize it, okay. If you want to underline it, let's say I want to undo that though. If you want to undo it, just click it again and it goes away. If I want to change the color, most of the time you won't have to. Let's say I made it blue. Let's say I also wanted to highlight it. You can click on the different colors if you want it brighter. If you also click some of these ones that are a little more faint, it gives you and then it makes it a lighter highlighted color. Let's say your teacher wants you to insert a comment, right? You're commenting on this article about dogs. As you can see, when I highlight it, it kind of shows up a little bit, doesn't it? That kind of lets you know, oh yeah, that's what that looks like. It's not going to show up that way for when you turn it in, but it'll show up that way for you so you know what it is. If you click here, add comment. Okay. Oh look, it has me because I'm logged in, and you can say, I am adding a comment here, right? If you click the blue comment button, and then once you do that, it shows up here. Okay, if you want to add more to your comment, if you have a reply to your comment, you found out more information, if you click on it, it says reply or add others. So you can say, I am adding to my comment, and you hit reply. This works really well if you're on a document where you're editing with more than one person. I've done that with my classes sometimes. You can add others. If you say at, let's say I'm adding Miss Duncan, right? So I would do at Miss Duncan. I would click on her, and then I would click reply to comment. Okay, I don't want to send her an email right now, but that is how you would add somebody. Okay, if you want to resolve it, if things are all settled and good with your comment, you can go to the right, you can edit your comment, you can delete it. Okay, so either of those work. If you want to edit it, you can edit back your original comment. I am editing. Then you click save and it edits your comment. If you want to delete your comment, you just hit the right here, left click, hit delete, delete the comment, confirm deletion, and that's it. If you want to delete this one, same thing, right? Sometimes it will say mark as resolved if you're on a document that it's somebody else created, and then the same process essentially gets happened there. It'll still delete it so that you can't see it anymore. Other tips and tricks. I'm just going along this bar here. This is also another place to insert an image. It's the same thing. If you need to add a link, it's right there as well. If you need to put your work in the center, this will center align. If you need to put it to the right align. Put it justified, which is kind of like sort of to the left. And if you wanted left it as well. If you want to increase or decrease your line spacing, if you want everything to be single spaced, if you want it to be double spaced, okay. If you want to add bullets, numbers, that'll make a numbered list. Now you'll see how it, took these blanks. You can just hit the backspace button and those blanks go away on your keyboard. You just hit the backspace and those go away because they're counting those spaces as another line. If you want a bulleted list, you can make bullets. You can make smaller bullets. You can delete the smaller bullets by hitting backspace. You can delete the smaller bullets by hitting backspace. You can delete the larger bullets by hitting backspace. That'll definitely undo pretty much everything. Now, if you want a special number system, you can click on that little arrow, and it will give you different number systems and outlines that you can use. If you want Roman numerals, if you want to go to the bulleted list, it'll give you different bullets you can use, little boxes, things like that. If you want to decrease your indent or increase your indent, say, for example, I'm going to put this back to where it was originally. I'm going to take away my bullets. If I don't want my bullets, you just click on something and that undoes it pretty much. So if I clicked on this numbers and I didn't want them anymore, I said, you know what, I want to just make it regular, just click on it again and it'll go away. Now, let's say, for example, I wanted to indent this a little bit further. It says increase indent. It's going to go to the right. And you can put that to the right as many times as you want. If you want to bring it back, decrease the indent, it goes back. You click on it, it goes back every time. You can also use these little rulers here at the top, and they move your document. If you want, for example, if I had something written here, right, and I wanted just, the first part of it, the first line, the very top part, the first line I can put here, and if I want this part here, I can kind of try and move that there as well. See, the line just keeps getting extended, right? So that one affects really only the first line. I would try and keep these probably together as much as possible, but if you are, writing a bunch of stuff and you're writing, I'm just going to hit Control V here to get a little bit more here. If you have something like this and you need this part to be here, but you need the first line here, see, if I just moved this first line using the bar and I use the indent feature here, the little arrow, to indent it an entire ½ inch. Okay, so that can also work as well. Things like that. If you want to, this is editing mode. If you want to just suggest, if you want to view, those are other things you can do as well. But these menus are pretty helpful overall. If you want to do spelling and grammar check, you go over here where it says A and the check mark, and it's going to say, do you want to change your spelling? I spelled the control key incorrectly, so it'll give you a change. You can either accept it and accept it. You can also hit ignore. Then it'll tell you everything's good. Depends on what you want. If you need to print, you can click the printer, and obviously it will help you print. Okay. Let me go here and see if there's anything else I should help you with. For the most part, those are the most common things. You might need a header or a footer. What does that mean? Well, a header usually is when you have a document at the very top of the page, and you want something at the very top, like a letterhead for a school, for example. You can do that by double-clicking and see how it says header. If you want different pages, you can click different first page, and the first page will be different than everything else. But if you want to keep it the same, let's just say I want to say Altaloma Middle School. Right? Okay. I click out of it, and then if I have a second page, bam, shows right up there, doesn't it? If you want to, let me go back to that. Sometimes, when you're moving around, things can, go a little crazy. If you ever get to that point, you can always get your document back here. You see where I just I'll show you how to do that again. You can go into Google Docs, okay, and